Hey everyone, how are you doing? It's Holly here, and I wanted to take you through my Ghosts Mini Divi. I did a walkthrough of the Teeny Tiny Tarot, and you all seem to really like it. It just gave you some insight that you didn't have before without a paper guide. So I thought I would do the same for the Ghost Mini Divi. And most of you all know that I have a Kickstarter going on right now for 5 more Mini Divi decks. And I actually had done a walkthrough of one of them and then had to take the video down. And if you want to hear all about that, I'm going to talk to you about it at the end of this video. So if you just want to see the Ghost Mini Divi, then I'll walk you through that. So this is the one that I came out with my last Kickstarter. It's a 30 card deck, and I just have a love for ghosts. I always have. I love ghost stories. I think just I'm that generation who, are you afraid of the dark? Scary stories to tell in the dark. Those are what was around. Tales from the Crypt. Oh my goodness, like so many nights watching that. So I'm just of that generation that's like there's like this fascination with ghosts like during that time. That is what inspired this deck, and I'll just kind of get into it kind of immediately here. So I have ghosts of every kind. This one is the crying ghost. And I'm sorry this is a little shaky. I've always say these are lo-fi videos, but this is, my tripod broke, like the part that holds my phone. So yeah, it's like, we're making do with what we have. It's all good. It's all good. So I have the crying ghost here. This will pass. I think that's the wonderful thing about ghosts, right? And that's what I thought about when I made this card, is that the transient nature of life and of death. And the idea that, like, when we die, we may become ghosts, there may be an afterlife, there may be reincarnation, whatever it is that you believe. But whatever it is, it may not last forever. And while we're on Earth, it most certainly isn't gonna last forever. The situation that you're in, things are changing all the time. So just that kind of simple reminder. Poor sad little ghost. I love sheet ghosts. I don't know if you all do too, but just that idea of like a little sheet ghost. It's just so much fun. So I have the Victorian ghost. Many greats live in the past, but it's not where you belong. So I've mentioned this before. I live in a Victorian house. I am kind of obsessed with the Victorian era. I'm working on a new deck right now that's all like carte de visites and calling cards, like cabinet cards, like photographs. That is going to be an oracle deck that's all during like the Victorian period, but kind of obsessed. But as much as I love the Victorian period, and I think so many things about it are great, dwelling in the past is not always the best thing to do. So that's kind of what I had in mind with this one. It's just not being too stuck like in the past. Like, you belong in the here and now. So I have the cold spot, and I actually modeled this one after my desk chair. So this actually looks like my desk chair, in case you were wondering about the inspiration there. So of course with the cold spot, you're supposed to, like, when you pass through it, then you you have that feeling. So it says if something feels off, it probably is. So it's like, don't try to rationalize something if it's like feeling off in your gut, like, when you draw this card. So I have the grabby ghost, and this is supposed to be like a bed skirt and a kid's feet. He's like hiding under the bed, and the ghost is like about to pull him out. So it says it's out of your control now. I'm one of those people who definitely holds on too tightly sometimes, and it's always great to have a reminder to let some things go when it's time to let go. So we have Woman in the Water. This kind of reminds me of Bly Manor. The funny thing is like I made this card before I ever watched Bly Manor. But yeah. So it's time to travel far below the surface. There is so much more than what meets the eye in this situation. So this is, kind of telling you that if things maybe seem a certain one way, that they could be another. If you look a little harder, ask the right questions, dig a little deeper, maybe not everything is what it seems. So we have the child ghost. Everybody thinks of children as like, oh, it's children, sweet innocence. I kind of went the opposite direction with this card. I mean, it could be just that how much I love the Shining, but I just kind of wanted to make her, look like one of the girls from The Shining, like an evil girl, because everybody portrays like children is so darned sweet. So it says your inner child is holding you back, and it's like there is a time, kind of like the Fool card. It's just like there's that time for that, like childlike innocence, but then sometimes it can turn into turning a blind eye to maybe a situation that's serious, it seriously needs your attention, not being like not being as serious as you need to be in a situation, and so just kind of keeping that idea that like yes, it's nice to be like lighthearted, but you don't, you want to watch out for like naivety and things like that too. A little bit of perspective. So we have this severed head here. Not looking so good. Kind of like worked perfectly that it was the green card because it's nice and green. He's been dead for a little minute. So it says, now it's not the time to lose your head. It's time to plan. So this can be me too. I definitely feel like I've injected myself as a person and as an artist into this deck, as I do into all of my work. But, that's usually my first like inclination is to be like, like run around the room. But then I'm like, no. I need to sit down, I need to gather myself and make a plan. So this is just like your reminder to do that in whatever situation you're asking about. So of course this is the card on the front of the box. And so it's the shapeshifter. Things are not what they seem. And it seems pretty ominous as a card, but I think that it doesn't actually have to be that like ominous, like in real life if you draw this card. Just like so many people, I've actually like my husband and I, he also makes tarot cards. We've had people ask, who like they don't really like read tarot, so they're not, they'll ask like, there's not a death card in this tarot deck, is there? It's like, yeah, and a devil card, because those are not, we all know, like if we're into tarot, that those aren't necessarily like bad cards. It just really depends on the way you look at them. So it's just, again, things are not what they seem. Take a step back, evaluate the situation. Like that's what your call to action, I guess, here. So we have the friendly ghost. Okay, so I just have to tell you, I am also the generation that like watched Casper the movie with like Christina Ricci. Was it Devon Sawa, right? That was Casper. He was in it for like 3 seconds. But yeah, big fan of that movie. Like growing up, oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm embarrassing myself now. So we've got the friendly ghost. Your kind heart will show through. So it's just like sometimes we're in those situations where we feel like maybe people can't see us for our motives and can't see us for, the hard work we've been putting in, and the struggles we've been going through, and the things that we've wanted to do. But this card, if you draw it, is a good reminder that, like, in the end, your kind heart will show through. The good things that you're doing, they're going to get noticed eventually. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. So now we've got the Vortex Ghost. Don't allow chaos to suck you in. As someone who suffers from bipolar disorder, this is always a great card. Chaos is just a natural part of life. I think I've come to understand that and just roll with it a little bit more. So sometimes even just recognizing that chaos is and not letting it completely take you over is enough. So then we have the Forest Spirit. I am not a huge outdoor person. I'm like outdoor light. I don't want to camp, but I will take a walk in the woods. I really, really like taking walks in the woods. There's a state park where I live that's not far away at all, and so that's something that my family and I really like to do, which very much inspired this card. So it says, seek nature. It will in turn make you grow in the best ways. I think it's just that reminder to take that moment out to breathe, even if it's not you. Like, even if you don't love nature, like, what is your nature? Like, nature is like what I like, what really helps me. Like, so like, what is your nature? Might be the question to ask if you're like, ew, that sounds like hell. Like going out in the woods, just finding that thing that like clears your mind and allows room for growth there. So we have the Closet Ghost. I, like probably every other kid, like would look at my closet at night, especially if I forgot to like close it, and then it was just gaping open, like in the dark, and like you're like, all you want to do is close it, but you're like too terrified to get up and do it because you're like, something's definitely gonna get me. So that's definitely my inspiration there. And our old house has these little like details, so I wanted to make it look like that. And it says, seek out the inner truths that long to be awakened. So this could be sort of similar to like the High Priestess. Yes. I was like, what is that card called? It's kind of like the High Priestess, I think, in a way. That's just almost like, your higher self kind of situation is how I saw it. And of course, again, I'm drawing straight from childhood here. So, like, of course, Ghostbusters. Where I lived in like rural, like Middle Tennessee, we did not have a movie theater. We only had drive-in movies. And the first drive-in movie I ever saw was Ghostbusters. So, place in my heart, and definitely the inspiration for this card. So it says, it's okay to not have all the answers. So it's like, in more ways than one, it's just like, you're like, oh, what's that? I have no idea. Like, what is this? But also, it's just like, if you were the ectoplasm, you're just kind of like feeling a little blobby. And that's like, it's okay. We all have like those moments of just, that's kind of what I was going for there. So this one is the Soaked Ghost. And I kind of realized in hindsight, I feel like this is the only card where I was like, maybe I am the only one who might even understand this card, because in my mind, she's coming out of a well, and that's why she's like soaking wet. So it says, you're not stuck, you just need some new inspiration. So I was like imagining her like stuck in a well. Um, and I was like, being wet has nothing to do with being stuck. But I didn't draw the well, I just drew her being wet. So I hope that people understand that reference. They're like, oh yes, and like we get it. But if you don't, there it is. I'm laying it out for you. Like, I'm sorry if you did not connect those very weird dots. So we have the orb ghost. It says it doesn't matter if others don't believe, because like there's so much skepticism around like orbs. They're like, oh, my camera, it caught an orb, and it's like, that's just dust. You know, that's how some people think. So I just really wanted like to include this, but it doesn't matter if others don't believe. Like, if you have a plan, if you have a goal, if you have a desire, if you have this new thing that you want to start, this new person that you want to become, it does not matter if others don't believe. If you believe it, you're going to make it happen. Like, that's like what I'm wanting to inject into this card. So we have the ghost family, and it says stick close to the ones you love for maximum comfort. So of course, a family is what you make it. I'm adopted, and I used to live in foster homes before that. I was adopted when I was 9. So to me, family is a whole bunch of things. So it could be your actual family, it could be the family that you've chosen, but whatever it may be, if you draw this card, it may be a good time to look to them. So we have the sheet ghost, of course. Don't let imposter syndrome get you down. Buddy, you are a real ghost, damn it. You are a real ghost. And again, going straight back to childhood, Beetlejuice, I just like imagine them with like the sheets and like how ridiculous they look, and that immediately made me think of imposter syndrome. Oh my goodness, I hope my laughing isn't like shaking the camera too much. I'm so sorry. This is like the saddest little video, but I do hope it helps and gives you some insight here. So we have the ghost phone. Will you answer the call? So this is actually, for once, not something from my childhood. 21st century ghosts. Is it 20th century ghosts or 21st century ghosts? 20th century? Anyway, Joe Hill, he's amazing. I read his like comics all the time, like Lock and Key. Like, you know, he is just such a masterful writer. And so of course there's now the movie that's going to come out for like the Black Phone. And so that's what made me think of this. But it's just that like something out there is calling to you. Will you answer that call? Is like what this is alluding to. So now we have Seize the Light Ghost. Seek a higher truth. I think this is kind of that it's time to like look through the noise. Life is so full of noise, and sometimes it can be just really hard to like cut through that and really see what's going on in a situation or what you're really feeling and thinking. So this card invites you to like cut through all of that. So now, I'm so sorry, some of these are upside down. This is like the actual deck I use. So we have the Hungry Ghost. I didn't want him to be too scary. So he's kind of like, I mean, you can tell he's not a happy dude, but I didn't want him to be like terrifying. Some questions have no answers, and the hungrier you become, the more you starve. This card was inspired by really like being in foster care and being adopted as an older child. I wondered a lot about my birth family. I searched for a lot of answers, and at the end of the day, yeah, there was a part of me I felt was like starving, because there was no satisfying answers to some of these questions that I had. There was no little like nice little package or bow that was going to like wrap it all up for me. Sometimes life just, unfortunately, no matter how much you really deserve it, and I think we really all do, it's just not there, and it stinks. And you have to sort of find your own way to kind of come to terms with it. So wah wah. That's what inspired this card. So now we have the ancient spirit. So we've got the artifact here. Tried and true may stand the test. And so, oh my goodness, the Exorcist. I didn't even understand the beginning of The Exorcist for most of the movie. Like, I had watched it like so many times and I was like, what's happening at the beginning? But then it was like this, I guess, possessed artifact. Maybe I still don't understand the beginning of the movie. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. But I'm pretty sure there's an artifact involved. It's been many like years since I watched it. So I wanted to have this like old, like ancient artifact. Because sometimes it's best just to go in the ways that you're going. It's so easy to sometimes question like what we're doing. Should we shake it up? But sometimes if something is tried and true, we might not want to question it. If it's going okay, or if we know we're on a certain trajectory, sometimes it's best just to stay the course. The Horde of Ghosts. Look at all these ghosties. You don't have to go it alone. Choose a quest buddy or 3. Quest buddies are the best buddies. Yeah, so it's like a symbol, those people that can help you and aid you. And now there was like the family of ghosts, and this is a little different. There's like some nuance in here because so this could be like an accountant if you have a small business and you're like leveling up. So this might not be like your friend or your family, but these could be people that could like aid you in your quest. So thinking of it a little bit differently, as like the people out there who may be experts in a certain field or might be able to like help you along your way. So like it could definitely, if you got both cards in a reading, they could kind of bolster each other, but I think there's a little bit of difference there. So we have the Rattling Chains Ghost. It's time to be heard. Don't be silenced. So this is a great time to use your voice. So of course we have the Poltergeist. Obviously inspired by the Poltergeist. So I'm pretty sure that even the image from this card is like when they're in the kitchen and then like all the tables in the movie like are like stacked up. I'm pretty sure that they're the same tables and everything. Apparently I shouldn't have made a ghost deck. I should just made a horror movie deck. I feel like I'm inspired definitely by both, but they obviously in my mind are very like woven together. So it says you have incredible power. Use it. It's like now's the time to use your power. So we have Ghost of the Fog. Shake up your routine where the fog may settle. So if you're getting the blahs, it might be time to try something new. And also, we have a lot of fog. Like, this was inspired by the city that I live in. I live in a little rural Georgia town, and it's foggy here all the time. And I don't know why, because it's more landlocked than Savannah was when I lived there. But, oh, I love it. I love the fog. So then we have the ghost town. Maybe where you're at doesn't serve you anymore. Move along. If your situation or your town, whatever it may be, is feeling like a ghost town, you've got the tumbleweeds coming through. Like, that might be a sign. So then we have the corner ghost, which I'm pretty sure is the first card I made in this deck. And it says come front and center with your ideas. And there's probably a ton of movies, but I feel like Hereditary Heredity? Is that how you pronounce it? Wow, I'm just like losing my mind. It like oh my goodness, it was like Toni Collette. I'm pretty sure she was like on the wall. Ugh. Yeah. But anyway, that's what inspired the imagery, but not the message. So it's like, you don't want to be like stuck in a corner, like come front and center. It's your time to shine. So now we have the angry spirit. I mean, this guy kind of looks like me when I'm angry, like maybe obviously angry, but mostly ridiculous. It says some things are worth your anger and some are not worth your energy. So it's like kind of making that choice. Like there are plenty of things in life that make us all angry, but is all of it worth our energy? That is the question we have to ask ourselves. So then we have the poor little lonely ghost, and he's trying to cuddle with this woman in bed, and it says, just be. You need to feel these feelings. And that just really is the thing. It's like sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, I try to escape it too. Just when I'm like, I will do anything to distract myself from the feelings that I'm feeling right now. But then there are those instances where we need to like feel it through, because if we feel it, we may be able to unburden ourselves from it. So we have the doesn't realize ghost. Your lack of awareness is killing me. So I have this guy, and he's just reading the morning newspaper, and it says, man falls to his death. And that's him. He is the man who fell to his death. He doesn't seem to realize it. He's just like, oh, just still reading the paper as if he's alive. Lack of awareness. And I definitely can suffer from lack of awareness. And sometimes I need that little wake-up call. So this card is helpful in that scenario for sure. So that is it. That is the Ghost Mini Divi. And if that is exactly what you wanted to see, then I will let you move on. But if you want to hear my little story about why I'm not going to do a walkthrough of any of the 5 decks that are coming out, that are a part of the Kickstarter right now, until they come out and are manufactured, then you can listen to that story now. So I actually had a video and posted it, maybe even a couple of you had seen it, of the Opposites Mini Divi, and I just went through it on my iPad because obviously the cards aren't manufactured, and just to show you all of them, and I was so excited to do that. I didn't do that. It wasn't a huge deal. I didn't do that last time for the last Kickstarter for the Ghosts Mini Divi, but you all have just such great faith in me as an artist. And you all really seem to enjoy the Ghosts one. You took a leap of faith. You were along for the ride. You enjoyed having like some of those surprises. And I just really appreciate that sort of spirit that you all have and had for the last Kickstarter. So that's like incredible. And I'm so grateful for that. But then I was like, maybe I can just show them all off. Well, it didn't take long before there was a comment, a really long comment on the Opposites video about like 8 or 9 cards that like, I mean, this is only a 30 card deck. They're all 30 card decks, the Mini Divis. About like 8 or 9 cards I could change. And they said, I just really want to give my opinion. And it was like, whoa, because I don't even know where to start. It was like such an experience. Like they had no qualifications that I could see to like give their opinion. Like they didn't belong to like a press or like a tarot, like, you know, or book press. They weren't an illustrator that I could see. They weren't anybody who had done a successful Kickstarter that I could see. They weren't in like a part of the tarot world as a professional. in any way, shape, or form that I could see. Like there were no like credentials or qualifications to like give me like any sort of advice, especially not like unsolicited advice. So it was a really bizarre experience. And like I had no rapport with this person whatsoever. Like I had no idea who they were. Like the only thing that qualified them to give their opinion was the fact that they had an opinion. And they didn't even, like, as far as I could tell, like I knew at that point they hadn't even pledged for the Kickstarter, because they were like, okay, well now I'm gonna go look at the Kickstarter, after they had said their whole spiel. And so I was like, wow, they're not even a pledger. So it was like a whole big thing. So like, yeah, I took it down and I realized that like it's one thing to show you guys all of the cards once they're already manufactured, because you know that there's no way to change them. They're already made. But I kind of realized that if I show you all the cards not manufactured, that there will be people who will think these aren't manufactured yet. So I can basically ask you to make me my own. It's just like, it's like, I mean, it would be great. Oh my goodness. If I could like go to my dream tarot makers and be like, I want you to make a deck customized to me. Just customize it to me, to my ones. Like, whoa. Like, that would be freaking awesome. And I would love that. But like, I'm not gonna make like a $14 to $20 deck and customize it to like a stranger that I've like never met before. It was just like, you're asking me to like customize a deck for you and to change everything to your whim. It was really weird. It was just really weird. And it was like, hey, life is full of all different experiences, and I have now experienced that one. So that was interesting. But I did have two people who were editors for the decks, for these 5 decks. One is a professor of writing for a university, and they also own and are the editor of their own small press, who has published several things already, even though they're new. And the other person is a librarian who is very much a part of the tarot world. She's a professional tarot reader, and again, a professional librarian by day. So like, these are people who I trusted to make sure that I didn't spell everything wrong. And they gave me some pointers too on some things that like I might want to change to just make it like some of the cards a little clearer too. And like I really valued their opinions, because not only are they professionals in the writing world, they were professionals in the tarot world. And I have a rapport with them because I asked them for their opinion. So the great thing about the 5 additional mini divvies is that they are edited, and they're edited by 2 wonderful people aside from myself. So I definitely didn't do it alone. So you will know that like you're in good hands. Like, I love that you all don't expect me to show every single card, and I certainly will show more cards like in the updates. I already have shown 2 more of the Omens cards in my first update for the Kickstarter. So you will see more cards, but I really appreciate you all. I appreciate that you all have been along from the ride from the last Kickstarter, and that you just have some faith in me as an illustrator to truly just draw what resonates to me, to the decks, to the subject matter. That's a big deal to me. Like, it's a huge deal to me. So thank you all so much for that. You are my people. I really appreciate that. Anyway, I have rambled long enough, but I hope that explains things a little bit better. Anyway, I will talk to you later.